If you tuned in yesterday, you know that I thought I had figured it out. I had actually cracked the code because I had gone from a morning low ketone of 0.4 to a high of 2.1 overnight. And I was like, oh my God, I figured out exactly what I did wrong. I know what I'm doing now. Let me just put this into overdrive. And then I woke up this morning, tested my blood, and my numbers dropped again. I went from 2.1 yesterday to 0.9 today. And I'll be honest with you, for like 2 hours this morning, I just completely freaked. Listen, I have been on the dieting roller coaster forever, for 30 years. And I know that it's a long game. I know it's not a short game. I know it's a long game. And I know there's a lot I got to learn and understand. And your body doesn't react always the way that you want your body to react. I know. And I also, despite all the success I've been having, I'm just being completely honest, I just wanted to throw everything out the window this morning. I mean, waking up at a 0.9, I really thought that everything I did yesterday was going to translate into me having higher ketones, not lower ketones. I was going to have lower glucose, not higher glucose, and just the opposite happened. My ketones dropped to 0.9, my glucose went back up to 104, and I just sat there. I mean, for a couple of hours. Like, for a couple of hours this morning, all I did was ruminate, like, what is going on with this silly body of mine, But honestly, I know that 2.1 ketones is excessive. My body doesn't, if there's 2.1 ketones in my blood, that just simply means that my body overproduced the amount of ketones it needs. I know I'm fat adapted. I've not been having, I've been fat adapted for months, 6 months or more. I've been doing this since September of 2025. So, all right, let me show you what I'm looking at here. These are my numbers from this morning, and I took my numbers twice today. I took them. Why did I take it again? I don't know. I wrestled with it all day. This is literally, I took my numbers again today at 4 o'clock. It is shameful to say, but for vanity reasons, literally for vanity reasons. It's like me weighing myself after a run, knowing that I'm going to have, of course, a lower weight than I did in the morning because I just got done a run. But God, I'm so vain sometimes. I make myself sick. Anyway, here it is, 5:39 this morning. Here, let me make this bigger so you can all see this. So yesterday I had the high of 2.1, very excited. This morning, 0.9, and then at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I raised it to 1.1. I didn't eat at all since last night after dinner, and I got done dinner around 6 p.m. last night, and then did not eat at all until 4 p.m. this afternoon when I took my ketones again, and I was still only 1.1, 0.9 to 1.1. But look at this glucose. I went from last night's glucose was 92. Today, this morning was 104. And then at 4 o'clock, it had dropped down to 79, which is completely reasonable. Of course, because I hadn't eaten anything at all since last night, up until 4 p.m. And now, what did I think that I corrected? Just so we're all on the same page, just so we remember, I overate protein. What I thought happened on this day right here on March 4th, which was Wednesday, I guess, or Tuesday night, because that was Wednesday morning. What I did on Tuesday, I still think this is true, is that I overate protein. I had 135 grams of protein, and I was kind of tracking in real time. I wasn't pre-tracking. Pre-tracking is just simply where you choose what you track all your macros for the meal or the food you're going to eat today before you eat it, so that you can strategize, so you can know, like, should I add an egg? Should I take an egg away? Should I add butter? Should I add more butter or less butter? Or, just pre-tracking so that you get it all down. And I didn't do a good job on that on Tuesday night, and I ended up with 135 grams of protein. And then Wednesday morning, I wake up and I'm at a 0.4 ketones. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's because I had too much protein. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know how much protein my body needs at this moment. I'm so confused about how much protein your body needs because I was always told you should have 1 gram per ideal body weight. I weigh 185 pounds, so I should have what? Right? Like 180 grams of protein and 135. Maybe it's not too much. Maybe it's not the protein. I don't know. But so I pre-tracked, this is Friday. I pre-tracked yesterday, and here are my macros. I got my protein down to 86 and 3 grams of carbs. And so I was thinking, and it was an 82. If you look at this little map here, I mean, the little diagram here, I was 80% fat, 20% or so, 17%. I think it was 82% fat, 17% protein, and 1% carbs. 80-20 sounds really great to me. I thought I was going to wake up this morning to fantastic numbers. Or let me say it this way. I thought I was going to wake up this morning to higher ketones. And the truth is, and again, it took me a couple of hours to talk myself off the window ledge, 0.9 ketones is nutritional ketosis. 0.5 and above is nutritional ketosis, and 0.9 is fantastic. It's really that means my body's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Measuring it later on and finding that my glucose dropped to 70. What did it drop to? 74, 79. My glucose dropping to 79 and my ketones rising to 1.1 to meet the fuel needs of my body. I mean, I have nothing to complain about, right? I mean, I know that. And I still kind of was like bummed out about it. You know, I know this is a long game. I know it's not a short game. I know it's not a sprint. I know it's a marathon. I know I'm here for the long haul. I'm committed to being metabolically healthy. I'm committed to it. Despite the scale and the pants fitting or not fitting and all, I'm committed to being metabolically healthy. I'm committed to figuring this out. So let's just talk about today. This is Friday. This is my called MyFitnessPal. It's what I use to track my macros. I track my food on it. People use a lot of different apps. This is just the one that I have been using forever, so it's the one I like. And what I want to show you here is I want to show just a couple of things. I just want to share a couple of things. Number one, my wife and I went out to dinner tonight, and we talked about it this morning. This morning, she's like, hey, I'd like to go out to dinner tonight. Do you have any thoughts on where you want to go? And I said, no, I just would love to go to a place where I can get some meat. Like a piece of steak would be amazing. And so she finds a place. She sends me a text in the morning. She's like, this is the place I want to go to. I'm like, great. I hop on their website, and of course, 99% of the stuff that's on the menu is not for me, but they do have steak. They have a burger, they have a filet, they have porterhouse, they have ribeye, they have a few choices of steak. And so at first, I was thinking about getting the filet, and then I was thinking about getting the porterhouse because the porterhouse is the fattiest, and then I ultimately decided on the ribeye. But it is that ribeye. I had 9 ounces of ribeye tonight. It is that ribeye that was my biggest factor when I was deciding what else I was going to eat, because the ribeye is what comes in at 59 or 54 grams of protein. And I only want to have 80 grams of protein, 85 grams of protein. And again, only because I still think the amount of protein I have is what's making the biggest difference. Is it? I don't know. Let me say this. Just a little FYI, I am running a half marathon tomorrow morning. So we'll see, right? Like, we'll see. How am I going to do? I don't know. I haven't run a half marathon since January. So it's been a couple of months since and that half marathon I ran with Louise. And so I ran it at Louise's pace. So just kind of slow and steady. And we just had fun. It was just for her birthday. No big deal. Tomorrow, I am intending to race. I mean, I'm intending to really work hard. I want to have a good race tomorrow. So we'll see, right? Like, I'm curious. I'd love to see. I wake up in the morning and my ketones be 0.9 or higher at least. I hope. So what does the food look like tonight? So I did settle on the ribeye. I did have well, let me say this first. Prior to going to dinner, I did pregame with some fat. I had 6 egg yolks and 4 tablespoons of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of butter, threw the butter in the pan and whipped up the 6 egg yolks and the 4 tablespoons of heavy cream and made scrambled eggs with some salt on it. I mean, if you haven't tried that yet, ladies and gentlemen, eat. And I also had 3 tablespoons of MCT oil, MCT8. And it's getting harder and harder for me to swallow MCT8 oil all on its own. It's getting harder for me to swallow oil all at once because I'm doing like 1 tablespoon at a time, like tablespoon. By the time I'm at that 3rd tablespoon, I'm like, ugh. Maybe I should just pour it in like a 1/4 cup and just down the 1/4 cup because I think the first swallow is the easiest. Maybe I can just reduce it. I don't know. I'm having a tough time with MCT8 oil. When I did get to the restaurant, I did not intend on having anything other than a ribeye with some butter because I had already had fat. I already had the 6 egg yolks, the heavy cream, and the MCT oil. And I'm talking, I had it like 15 minutes before we left to go to the restaurant. So I was really trying to close that gap of window with my eating window and make sure I got all this fat in. So when I got to the table and they had that big warm basket of bread, guess who didn't have any? Me. Of course, it's been 6-8 months since I've had a piece of bread. But again, I have no temptation. I mean, honestly, I went there. I'm kind of full already. I mean, that's a lot of fat already. And then I ordered the ribeye, and my wife got a what is that called? It's an iceberg lettuce. It has the blue cheese, but it was gorgonzola blue cheese and bacon. And a wedge. That's what it is. A wedge salad. I'm like, I'll have one of those because I wanted the bacon. And it had 2 fat, thick cut pieces of bacon on there with some blue cheese. And I did end up eating a little bit of the lettuce because I was using it as a potato chip to scoop up the blue cheese and mix it with the bacon. Not enough lettuce to make any big deal out of it, of course. But I tracked it. I added, I probably had a cup of shredded or chopped lettuce. I had 2 pieces of bacon and some gorgonzola blue cheese with my ribeye dinner. And so if you look here, I had about 2,000 calories today. I had 7 grams of carbs. I had 194 grams of fat and 79 grams of protein. What are my numbers going to look like tomorrow morning? I don't know. I do know that I didn't stop eating. We got to the restaurant by 6. So it was probably by 7 when I stopped eating. So my eating window or my fasting window between, maybe I shouldn't, that's the thing too. Like how long of a fasting window should I have? Let me get out of here so you don't have to keep looking at that. How long of a fasting window should I have before I check my numbers? Because that's what I was doing before. I just recently started tracking my macros first thing in the morning when I wake up because Dr. Boz is constantly hammering. It's like she calls it T on T, test on toilet. As soon as you get, you go to wake up in the morning and use the bathroom, test your blood right there and T on T. And so I'm kind of like, all right, but before then I wasn't testing my glucose and my ketones until 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I only eat 1 meal a day and I don't eat. My eating window is usually around between 5 and 6. And so I would test my blood around 4 p.m. That would give me a good 22 hours between meals. And my glucose was always low. My ketones were always really robust. And so maybe that's it too. Maybe it's just the time of the day. There's not enough time between me eating when I stop eating tonight at 7. So if I get up tomorrow morning, I'm not getting up at 5:30 because it's a Saturday, but my race is at 9:30. I'll probably get up at 7. So 7 to 7, 12 hours. What'll that look like? Or should I wait and not test my blood until 4 p.m. tomorrow? I mean, there wasn't a big difference today when I did it. I mean, my ketones went from 0.9 to 1.1. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll do a test. It'll be about 12 hours between my meals. And then I'll test again before I eat my only meal tomorrow. And we'll see if if the timing between meal and me testing makes all that big of a difference. Because between this morning and this afternoon, it wasn't that big of a difference for ketones. And again, I'm human, so I'm vain, and I don't want to be. I just want to be metabolically healthy, but I'm just admitting that, I started to panic a little bit this morning when I saw 0.9. I mean, I really was disappointed for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what for? I'm still in nutritional ketosis. I'm still doing well. I'm still not, I'm still taking control of my life. I'm still metabolically healthy. I'm still doing all the right things. And so I got to give myself a little grace. I would give everybody in the universe more grace than I give myself. And that's kind of a problem I'm having. But all right, that's it from me. Tomorrow, we'll see what happens. I hope you're finding this helpful. I really do.